Do you ever find yourself saying things that you regret, or reacting to a situation or a person in a way that deep down you know is going to make the situation worse? It's easily done, particularly in situations that are stressful or where there are complicated relationship dynamics. If you're at risk of reacting to something, it generally means that you've been triggered or there's been some kind of intrusion on your boundaries. And if you can find a way to respond rather than react in anger, you will find that it will strengthen your sense of self and perhaps also your connection with others. In this video, I'm going to talk you through how to respond rather than react in a situation. And it's an important skill to be able to master, particularly when it comes to relationships. The art of responding rather than reacting is something that is a big focus on my work with couples. Often they arrive feeling really angry and frustrated that they haven't been properly heard or acknowledged. And they're unaware that their own behavior can exacerbate rather than improve the situation. So in order to have more connected relationships, here are some of the things that we talk through. Number 1, know that responding is a skill that you can learn. Skills take time, practice and repetition to master. So the first step is gaining knowledge, but don't expect to be able to do this immediately. If you're aware that this is a skill that you can develop over time, you can be gentle and patient with yourself as you learn to master it. Number 2, responding means tolerating discomfort. Reacting is often a form of deflecting pain. If a situation or a person has brought you discomfort, it's tempting to just bat that uncomfortable energy back out into the world so you don't have to hold it inside. It takes an act of courage to be able to actually sit with a feeling and to process it, rather than just react to the cause of it. The more that you're able to explore what this situation means to you and why it has triggered you, the better you'll be able to work with your response rather than just go into that knee-jerk reactivity. 3, take your time. Do not make important decisions when you are in an emotional state. In order to process something, you need to take time. If you are at risk of a reflexive or unprocessed reaction, take a breath and allow yourself to take stock. A conscious and mindful response does not come from fast thinking. It's a sure way to go into reactivity, and instead you need to mull over the options. If you're trying not to react in the context of conversation, you might want to say, I need a moment to think about that, or let me digest my understanding of what you're saying before I respond, and then give yourself a moment to step back. Number 4, hang on in there with mindfulness. If in conversation you feel that your buttons are being pushed and you're feeling tempted to react, there are tools that you can use to help give yourself time and stop yourself from speaking reflexively. I was taught the practice of pushing my tongue against my 2 front teeth whilst the other person is speaking. It might sound strange, but it's a way of actually staying conscious in conversation. The tongue stays still. Number 5, stay present and avoid the trap of falling into reflexive patterns. Tune into what's going on in the present moment. Often the triggers that cause us to react take us back to an emotional flashback state where we're no longer thinking about what's going on right now, but instead unconsciously we're reacting from a pattern of previous trauma or wounding. If you become aware that this is a frequent pattern for you, I would recommend that you seek the support of a relationship coach or an equivalent professional to work through patterns that have become stuck. Number 6, get curious and find yourself, when you find yourself getting into this emotionally triggered state, an effective tool is to immediately get curious about what's going on for you. Ask yourself, how do I feel about this? Why might I be feeling this way? 7, get clarity on what you would like to happen next. In order to be able to take control of what happens next, you'll want to have full clarity on your position in the situation. Ask yourself, how would I want to respond? What outcome do I want? and what response will give me the best chance of getting this outcome. 8. Maintain good boundaries, and boundaries are all about taking responsibility for your own thoughts, feelings, and actions. So responding rather than reacting means having real clarity on what belongs to you and is rightfully in your control and what is nothing to do with you and out of your control. Your ability to respond, in other words, your responsibility, relies on your being clear and maintaining your boundaries. 9. Become aware of pseudo-issues. A pseudo-issue is defined as something that we think might be an issue, but is really only a surface cover-up for a more challenging issue that we're afraid of admitting to ourselves and afraid of confronting. When you are getting clarity on what the issue is that you are confronting and how you really want to respond, dig deep. You may find underneath the surface that there's something that's more painful for you to confront, but that will bring real rewards to you if you allow yourself to process it rather than hiding from it. 10. Use perspective and hindsight to deepen your awareness. It's worth looking back at the things after the moment. When you're in a total calm state of reflective state and can have perspective on a situation, you'll have a sharper clarity around your habits, and you'll be able to see how you might want to change the patterns that are no longer serving you. With time and practice, you can become a master in this powerful skill of responding rather than reacting. And if you're curious to learn more about pseudo-issues, you might be interested in watching my video on the subject. I've put a link to the video in there for you. I love sharing my tools and tips and guidance with you and supporting you on your journey to thriving relationships. Please subscribe to my channel by clicking on the subscribe button so we can travel this path together. On my channel, you'll find lots of helpful explanations, tools and tips which can be of real value for mastering relationship skills. I look forward to seeing you in my next video.